Master the Game. How to Subtly Influence Anyone. Written by Ronnie Rowland. Published by Growth Literacy Lounge. In life, success often hinges on one thing: the ability to influence. Whether it's persuading a client, rallying a team, or connecting with a stranger, influence is the bridge between your goals and their realization. Yet, most people stumble across this skill by accident, unaware of its principles or potential. Therefore, they leave their success to chance, hoping their ideas resonate or their actions inspire without understanding why some people command attention while others fade into the background. You've seen it: the colleague who seems to effortlessly win over the room, the friend who always knows the right thing to say, the leader whose vision compels everyone to follow. These people aren't born with some elusive charisma. Influence is not magic, it's a game. But then, if it's a game, why does it feel like some people are playing with a cheat code while others can't even find the rulebook? The truth is, influence is governed by subtle dynamics, unspoken rules that most of us never learn. These rules aren't about manipulation or deceit. They're about understanding human nature so deeply that your words, actions, and presence naturally inspire trust, respect, and alignment. But then, this knowledge often feels out of reach, buried in jargon-heavy books or shrouded in vague advice that fails to deliver practical results. It's not about overpowering others or bending them to your will, it's about fostering authentic connections, crafting compelling messages, and navigating the intricate dynamics of relationships with grace. Therefore, this book isn't just a guide, it's a transformation. Inside, you'll discover how to decode body language, craft irresistible stories, and align your goals with others' desires. But more importantly, you'll learn how to wield influence with integrity, creating outcomes that benefit everyone involved. Influence isn't just a skill, it's an art, and when mastered, it changes not only how others see you but how you see yourself. So, are you ready to master the game? Your journey starts now. Chapter 1. The Hidden Rules of Influence. Imagine walking into a room full of strangers. The air hums with conversation, laughter bubbles in one corner, and a few heads turn toward you. In this moment, decisions are being made about you, unspoken judgments, unconscious assumptions, and instant evaluations. Yet, you've said nothing. It's not fair, but it's reality. The hidden rules of influence are already at play. Therefore, understanding and mastering these dynamics is essential if you want to command respect and attention in any situation. These rules aren't taught in school. They're subtle, almost invisible, but they govern every interaction. Those who know them navigate life with ease, those who don't often feel like outsiders. But then, what if I told you that you can learn these rules and use them to create authentic, lasting connections? This chapter is your introduction to a skill set that will transform how others see you and how you see yourself. Before diving deeper, let's address a critical distinction: influence is not manipulation. Manipulation is self-serving, often deceptive, and leaves others feeling used. Influence, however, is about fostering mutual understanding and aligning interests. It's a skill rooted in empathy and ethics. This book isn't about tricking people, it's about empowering you to build trust, inspire action, and create win-win outcomes. Think of influence as a dance rather than a battle. In a dance, both partners move in harmony, each anticipating and responding to the other. It's a collaboration, not a conquest. Therefore, the goal isn't to dominate but to guide, subtly, confidently, and respectfully. Have you ever met someone who seems to command attention the moment they enter a room? They don't have to speak loudly or act dramatically. Their presence alone draws people in. This is the first hidden rule of influence: your presence sets the tone before you even say a word. Presence is a combination of body language, energy, and confidence. When you walk into a room, your posture, facial expressions, and even how you occupy space communicate volumes. People intuitively respond to these cues, often without realizing it. But then, how can you cultivate an influential presence? Start with your body language. Stand tall, shoulders relaxed, and head held high. Maintain eye contact, not as a challenge, but as an invitation. Smile genuinely, as it signals warmth and approachability. These small adjustments create a powerful impression, making others more receptive to your words. Perception is everything. Studies show that within seconds of meeting someone, we form snap judgments about their competence, trustworthiness, and likability. These judgments are often subconscious, yet they influence how people treat us. But here's the good news: perception isn't fixed. You have the ability to shape how others see you. For instance, imagine meeting someone who radiates enthusiasm and positivity. You're likely to feel uplifted and drawn to them. Conversely, someone who seems guarded or disinterested may leave you feeling uneasy. The key to influencing perception lies in authenticity. Pretending to be someone you're not is exhausting and unsustainable. Instead, focus on amplifying your best qualities. Therefore, if you're naturally curious, let that curiosity shine in your conversations. If you're empathetic, show genuine interest in others' stories. Authenticity is magnetic. Influence doesn't exist in a vacuum. It operates within the complex web of social dynamics. Every interaction involves unspoken roles, hierarchies, and expectations. Understanding these dynamics is crucial for navigating the hidden rules of influence. For example, consider group settings. In any group there are leaders, followers, and observers. Leaders set the tone, followers reinforce it, and observers provide silent feedback. Therefore, identifying these roles can help you adapt your approach. If you're speaking to a leader, frame your ideas in a way that aligns with their goals. If you're engaging with followers, emphasize shared values to build rapport. But then, what about observers? They may not say much, but their opinions often carry weight. Winning over an observer can shift the group dynamic in your favor. Recognizing these subtleties allows you to navigate social situations with confidence and precision. Now that you understand the foundational principles of influence, it's time to start building your toolkit. This includes skills like active listening, strategic storytelling, and emotional intelligence, all of which we'll explore in later chapters. However, your journey begins with self-awareness. Take a moment to reflect. How do others perceive you? Are you approachable, confident, and trustworthy? Or do you come across as aloof or overly assertive? Self-awareness is the cornerstone of influence. By understanding your strengths and areas for improvement, you can start making deliberate changes that enhance your impact. One practical exercise is to ask trusted friends or colleagues for feedback. Their insights can reveal blind spots and help you see yourself through others' eyes. This process may feel uncomfortable, but it's a crucial step toward mastering the game of influence. The hidden rules of influence may seem daunting at first, but they're not insurmountable. Like any skill, influence can be learned and refined through practice. Therefore, your task is to approach this journey with curiosity and an open mind. Each chapter will build on the concepts introduced here, equipping you with the tools to subtly and ethically influence anyone. Remember, influence isn't about changing who you are, it's about amplifying your natural strengths. By embracing the hidden rules of influence, you'll not only transform your interactions, but also discover new dimensions of your potential. Chapter 2. Understanding Human Motivation. Why do people say yes to one request and no to another? Why do we gravitate towards certain individuals while avoiding others? The answer lies in human motivation, the invisible driver behind every action, choice, and relationship. Therefore, understanding motivation is your key to unlocking influence. Motivation is not random. It's deeply rooted in universal human needs and desires. But then, what separates those who understand this concept from those who don't is the ability to recognize these drivers in real time. Once you grasp the why behind people's behaviors, you can connect with them on a deeper level, inspiring them to act, not because you told them to, but because they feel compelled to. To influence effectively, you need to understand the core motivators that drive human behavior. Psychologists have identified several universal needs, but let's focus on 5 that are most relevant to influence. 1. Belonging. Humans are social creatures who crave connection. We want to feel like we're part of something bigger, whether it's a community, a relationship, or a shared purpose. 2. Safety. From physical safety to emotional security, people are drawn to what feels stable and predictable. 3. Recognition. Everyone wants to feel seen and valued. This need fuels our desire for status, acknowledgement, and respect. 4. Autonomy. While people value connection, they also want to feel in control of their decisions and lives. 5. Growth. We're driven by a desire to improve, learn, and achieve our potential. Understanding these motivators is like holding a map to the human psyche. Therefore, when you tailor your influence strategies to align with these needs, your words and actions resonate more deeply. Imagine you're asking a coworker to help with a project. You explain that it's important to you and that you're struggling with the workload. Yet, they still hesitate. Why? Because you haven't addressed the unspoken question in their mind, what's in it for me? This principle lies at the heart of motivation. People are naturally self-focused, not selfish, but wired to prioritize their needs and desires. But then, when you frame your requests or ideas in a way that aligns with their goals, they're more likely to respond positively. For example, instead of saying, "I need your help on this project," you could say, "Your expertise could make a huge difference in this project's success, and it could spotlight your leadership skills to the team." The shift in focus transforms the request into an opportunity for them. Logic might guide our reasoning, but emotions drive our actions. Have you ever made a decision that didn't make sense on paper but felt right in your gut? That's the power of emotion at work. Therefore, if you want to influence effectively, you need to appeal to both the head and the heart. Emotions like excitement, curiosity, fear, and pride are particularly powerful motivators. For instance, excitement, framing a proposal as a thrilling opportunity, sparks enthusiasm. Fear, highlighting potential losses or risks, motivates action through urgency. Pride, complimenting someone's skills or achievements, encourages cooperation. But then, be cautious. Using emotions irresponsibly, like exaggerating risks or manipulating fear, undermines trust. Influence built on genuine emotion, however, strengthens connections and inspires authentic engagement. Understanding motivation isn't about guessing, it's about listening. Active listening is your most valuable tool for uncovering what people truly want. When you listen not just to reply but to understand, you pick up on verbal and nonverbal cues that reveal their priorities and pain points. For example, if someone complains about feeling overlooked at work, their core motivator might be recognition. If a friend expresses anxiety about an upcoming decision, they might value safety and stability. Therefore, by paying close attention, you gain insights that allow you to tailor your approach. Active listening involves 1. Maintaining eye contact and showing genuine interest. 2. Paraphrasing their statements to confirm understanding. 3. Asking open-ended questions to encourage deeper sharing. Once you understand someone's motivators, the next step is alignment. Influence isn't about forcing your agenda, it's about creating a bridge between your goals and theirs. But then, how do you do this without compromising your own needs? Start by framing your goals in terms of how they benefit the other person. For instance, if you're trying to persuade a colleague to adopt your idea, emphasize how it aligns with their values or solves their challenges. This approach shifts the focus from what I want to what we can achieve together. Imagine trying to sell a new software tool to your team. Instead of listing its features, highlight its benefits. This tool could reduce our workload by 20%, giving us more time to focus on strategic projects. By aligning the tool's value with their desire for efficiency and growth, you make your case more compelling. Motivation thrives in an environment of trust. Without trust, even the most compelling arguments fall flat. People need to believe that your intentions are genuine and that your actions align with your words. Building trust requires consistency, transparency, and empathy. For example, if you promise to support someone's efforts, follow through. If you don't have an answer, admit it rather than bluffing. If you make a mistake, own up to it and make amends. Trust isn't built overnight, but every interaction is an opportunity to strengthen it. Therefore, the more trustworthy you are, the more people will feel motivated to align with you. Motivation is only the first step. To influence effectively, you need to convert motivation into action. This requires clear, actionable guidance. People are more likely to act when they know exactly what to do next. For example, instead of saying, "Let me know how you'd like to proceed," provide specific options. Would you prefer to tackle this today, or should we schedule a time tomorrow? Offering clear choices reduces decision fatigue and increases the likelihood of action. But then, remember that timing matters too. Motivations fluctuate based on context and mood. By observing and adapting to the moment, you can nudge people toward action when their motivation is highest. Understanding human motivation is like learning a new language. At first it might feel unfamiliar, but with practice, it becomes second nature. By recognizing what drives people and aligning your approach with their needs, you'll unlock a powerful tool for influence. This chapter laid the foundation for identifying and tapping into motivators. As we move forward, you'll learn how to use this knowledge to craft compelling narratives, navigate power dynamics, and build lasting connections. Mastering motivation is the heartbeat of influence, and you're just getting started. Chapter 3: The Power of Nonverbal Cues. Imagine sitting in a meeting where two people present the same idea. One speaker stumbles through their words, avoids eye contact, and slouches in their chair. The other speaks with clarity, gestures naturally, and commands attention without seeming overbearing. Which one would you trust more? The content of their message might be identical, but their delivery makes all the difference. Nonverbal communication is the language beneath words, the silent symphony of gestures, expressions, and posture that speaks directly to our subconscious. Therefore, understanding and mastering this invisible language can elevate your ability to influence others in profound ways. But then, many people overlook its significance, focusing only on what they say instead of how they say it. Studies suggest that up to 93% of communication is nonverbal, encompassing body language, facial expressions, tone of voice, and even physical space. While the exact percentage is debated, one fact remains clear: people pay more attention to what they see and hear than the words themselves. For instance, consider a nervous speaker delivering an apology. Their voice quivers, their arms are crossed defensively, and they avoid direct eye contact. The words might express regret, but the nonverbal cues suggest discomfort or insincerity. On the other hand, a person who maintains steady eye contact, speaks with a calm tone, and offers open gestures conveys authenticity and confidence. Nonverbal cues bridge the gap between intention and perception. Therefore, if your actions don't align with your words, people will trust what they see, not what they hear. The first step to mastering nonverbal communication is learning to read it in others. Nonverbal cues reveal hidden emotions, unspoken thoughts, and underlying dynamics. By observing carefully, you can gain insights that words alone might never provide. Here are some key elements to watch for. 1. Facial expressions. The face is the most expressive part of the body. A raised eyebrow signals curiosity or skepticism. A genuine smile with eyes crinkling conveys warmth and approachability. 2. Body language. Posture reveals confidence or discomfort. Leaning in indicates interest, while leaning back suggests disengagement or defensiveness. 3. Gestures. Hand movements often emphasize points, but they can also signal nervousness, fidgeting, or openness, palms up. 4. Eye contact. Steady eye contact shows confidence, while avoiding it can indicate unease or deception. 5. Proxemic space. The physical distance people maintain reveals their comfort level. Invading personal space can feel threatening, while keeping too much distance might seem aloof. By focusing on these cues, you can read the room and adapt your approach accordingly. But then, how do you ensure your own nonverbal signals align with your intent? To influence others effectively, your nonverbal communication must project confidence, warmth, and authenticity. This isn't about faking gestures or expressions, it's about becoming aware of how you're perceived and making conscious adjustments. Start with these foundational principles. 1. Posture. Stand or sit tall, with your shoulders relaxed and your chest open. This signals self-assurance and invites engagement. 2. Gestures. Use purposeful movements to emphasize key points. Avoid excessive fidgeting, which can distract or suggest nervousness. 3. Facial expressions. Smile when appropriate, but let it be genuine. A forced smile can come across as insincere. 4. Eye contact. Aim for balanced eye contact. Too much can feel intense, while too little can seem disinterested. 5. Tone of voice. Vary your pitch and pace to keep your audience engaged. A monotonous delivery undermines even the best content. These adjustments might feel unnatural at first, but with practice they'll become second nature. Therefore, commit to refining your nonverbal skills one interaction at a time. One of the most powerful tools in nonverbal communication is mirroring, subtly mimicking the body language, gestures, or tone of the person you're interacting with. When done naturally, mirroring creates a sense of connection and trust by signaling that you're on the same wavelength. For example, if someone leans forward while speaking to you, leaning slightly forward yourself shows engagement. If they speak with enthusiasm, matching their energy level demonstrates alignment. However, mirroring must be subtle. Overtly copying someone can feel awkward or disingenuous. But then, why does mirroring work so effectively? The answer lies in neuroscience. Our brains contain mirror neurons, which respond to observing actions in others as if we're performing them ourselves. When someone perceives you as mirroring their behavior, they feel understood and validated, two critical components of influence. Nonverbal communication isn't just about what you project, it's also about how you listen. Active listening, when combined with nonverbal cues, deepens your connection with others and strengthens your influence. Here's how to listen nonverbally, not occasionally. This shows you're following along and encourages the speaker to continue. Maintain an open posture. Avoid crossing your arms, which can signal defensiveness. Instead, face the speaker fully to demonstrate attentiveness. React naturally. Smile, raise your eyebrows, or express surprise when appropriate. These reactions show genuine engagement. Pause before responding. A brief pause before speaking indicates that you're considering their words carefully. Active listening isn't just a tool, it's a gift. By giving others your full attention, you create a safe space for them to open up, making them more receptive to your influence. Silence is often misunderstood. Many people feel compelled to fill every pause with words, fearing awkwardness. But silence, when used intentionally, can be a powerful nonverbal tool. For instance, in negotiations, a strategic pause can make the other person reveal more information or reconsider their position. During a conversation, silence allows emotions to settle, giving you time to process and respond thoughtfully. When listening, silence conveys respect and focus. Therefore, don't underestimate the impact of silence. Sometimes, saying nothing speaks louder than words. To illustrate the power of nonverbal cues, consider this scenario. You're meeting a new client for the first time. As they walk in, you greet them with a firm handshake, maintain steady eye contact, and smile warmly. You mirror their pace and tone during small talk, creating a comfortable rhythm. As the meeting progresses, your open posture and engaged reactions make them feel heard and valued. By the end of the meeting, the client trusts you, not because of what you said, but because of how you made them feel. This is the essence of nonverbal influence, creating an environment where others feel seen, respected, and connected. Nonverbal communication is a skill that transcends words. It's the silent symphony playing beneath every conversation, shaping perceptions and emotions. By learning to read, project, and adapt nonverbal cues, you can transform your ability to influence with authenticity and ease. As you move through the next chapters, keep these lessons in mind. Each layer of influence builds on the foundation of presence, perception, and connection. Nonverbal communication is your starting point, your secret weapon in mastering the game of influence. Chapter 4. Crafting Compelling Narratives. Imagine you're sitting in a conference room, listening to a speaker drone on about quarterly earnings. The charts are clear, the data is precise, yet your mind drifts. Then, the speaker shifts gears. They share a story about a single employee whose innovation saved the company millions. Suddenly you're engaged, leaning forward, and emotionally connected. Why? Because stories are how we make sense of the world. Humans are hardwired for storytelling. From ancient cave paintings to blockbuster movies, stories resonate in ways facts and figures never can. Therefore, crafting compelling narratives isn't just a tool, it's the most powerful way to influence, inspire, and connect. But then, how do you tell a story that captivates, persuades, and lingers in the minds of others? Stories engage more parts of the brain than raw information. While facts activate the language processing center, stories light up sensory, emotional, and motor regions. This multisensory engagement explains why you can vividly recall the plot of a childhood fairy tale but struggle to remember a list of statistics from last week. Moreover, storytelling creates empathy. When we hear a story, our brains release oxytocin, the trust hormone, fostering connection with the storyteller. Therefore, if you want to influence others on a deep, emotional level, embedding your message in a story is your best strategy. To craft an effective story, you need more than a beginning, middle, and end. Great narratives follow a structure that captivates and persuades. Here are the core elements. 1. The hook. Every story starts with a moment that grabs attention. It might be a question, a surprising fact, or an intriguing scenario. The goal is to spark curiosity immediately. 2. The hero. The central figure of the story, often relatable and flawed, must face a challenge or desire something deeply. The audience should see themselves in the hero's journey. 3. The conflict. Conflict drives the story. Whether it's an external obstacle, an internal struggle, or a clash of values, tension keeps listeners engaged. 4. The transformation. The resolution must show growth, change, or insight. It's the why it matters moment that makes the story resonate. But then, not every story has to be epic. Even small, everyday moments can be powerful if they follow this structure. Now that you understand the structure, how do you use stories in the art of influence? The answer lies in relevance. Your story must connect to the listener's values, goals, or challenges. When they see their own struggles or desires mirrored in your narrative, they're more likely to trust and act on your message. For instance, imagine you're a manager convincing your team to embrace a new workflow. Instead of listing its benefits, you share a story. When I first tried this system, I was skeptical. I thought, why fix what isn't broken? But after just 1 week, I realized it wasn't about fixing, it was about freeing up time for bigger, creative projects. One small change allowed me to lead more effectively and balance my workload. This story is relatable, illustrates the value of change, and reassures listeners that their skepticism is normal. Great stories don't just inform, they make people feel. Emotions drive action far more effectively than logic. Therefore, crafting a compelling narrative requires evoking emotions like excitement, hope, or even fear. Let's say you're advocating for an environmental cause. You could say, every year, plastic waste kills over 1 million marine animals. It's an important fact but emotionally distant. Compare that to a story. Last summer, a young boy found a sea turtle tangled in plastic netting. He spent hours cutting it free, but the damage was done. The turtle couldn't swim properly and later died. That boy now campaigns tirelessly to reduce plastic waste. The story personalizes the issue, evoking empathy and motivating action. But then, avoid manipulation. Authenticity is key. Overly dramatic or exaggerated stories can backfire, eroding trust. The beauty of storytelling lies in its versatility. Whether you're in a meeting, networking event, or social setting, stories can strengthen your influence. Here's how to tailor your approach. 1. Professional settings. Use stories to illustrate points during presentations, interviews, or team discussions. Keep them concise and relevant to your audience's goals. 2. Personal connections. Sharing personal anecdotes builds rapport and trust. Be vulnerable without oversharing. Authenticity deepens relationships. 3. Digital platforms. In emails, social media, or YouTube videos, stories make your content more engaging. A brief, impactful narrative can make your message memorable. Regardless of the context, always align your story with your listeners' needs and interests. If it feels self-serving, it won't land. Some people fear they're not natural storytellers, but storytelling is a skill anyone can learn. The key is practice. Start by reflecting on your experiences. Think about moments of growth, challenges overcome, or surprising insights. These personal stories often resonate most because they're relatable and unique. Trim unnecessary details. Your story should be concise yet vivid. Use sensory language. Describe sights, sounds, and feelings to immerse your listener. Pause for impact. Strategic pauses create tension and highlight key moments. Invite interaction. Ask questions like, have you ever experienced something similar? To draw your audience in. Over time, you'll develop an instinct for storytelling that feels natural and impactful. Let me share a quick example. A struggling salesperson couldn't close deals despite knowing all the technical specs of their product. During a training session, they were encouraged to tell stories instead of reciting features. One day, they met a skeptical client and shared this story. One of my clients, Sarah, was hesitant to try our software because she thought her team wouldn't adapt. But within 3 months, her team was saving 10 hours a week on repetitive tasks. She told me, I didn't just get software, I got my weekends back. The client smiled and said, I want my weekends back too. The deal closed. The story transformed resistance into connection. Crafting compelling narratives is more than a technique, it's an art form that transforms how people see and respond to you. By embedding your message within a well-told story, you bypass defenses, spark emotions, and inspire action. It's not just about what you say, it's how your words linger in their minds long after the conversation ends. As we move into the next chapter, you'll learn how to deepen this connection through the art of listening. But for now, remember this: every story you tell is a chance to influence, not just decisions but hearts and minds. Chapter 5. The Art of Listening. When was the last time you felt truly heard? Not just nodded at politely but genuinely understood, as if the other person saw through your words to your deepest thoughts. That feeling is rare, and yet, it's one of the most powerful gifts you can offer. The ability to listen deeply isn't just an interpersonal skill, it's a superpower that strengthens trust, uncovers hidden truths, and amplifies your influence. Listening might seem passive, but in reality it's an active, intentional act. Therefore, mastering the art of listening is a transformative step toward becoming an influential force in every conversation. But then, why do so many of us struggle to listen effectively? In an age of distractions, real listening has become a lost art. Most of us don't truly listen, we wait for our turn to talk. We plan responses while others are speaking or get distracted by our devices. These habits create superficial conversations where important details and opportunities are lost. The root of poor listening often lies in misplaced priorities. People focus on what they'll say next, fearing silence or the possibility of being perceived as uninteresting. But here's the paradox: the more you focus on yourself, the less others feel valued. And when people don't feel valued, they're unlikely to trust, respect, or follow you. Therefore, becoming an influential listener requires shifting your mindset from "what can I say?" to "what can I understand?" Active listening is a dynamic process that goes beyond hearing words. It's about fully engaging with the speaker, understanding their perspective, and responding thoughtfully. Here are its core elements. 1. Presence. Be fully in the moment. Put away distractions and focus on the speaker. 2. Nonverbal cues. Use eye contact, nodding, and open body language to signal engagement. 3. Reflecting. Paraphrase what the speaker says to confirm understanding. For example, "So what I hear you saying is..." 4. Clarifying. Ask open-ended questions to explore deeper insights. For instance, "Can you tell me more about that?" 5. Empathy. Tune into emotions as well as words. Validate feelings by saying, "That sounds challenging," or "I can see why you feel that way." When done well, active listening creates a ripple effect. The speaker feels heard and valued, which fosters trust and openness. Therefore, by simply listening, you build a foundation for influence. People often communicate more through what they don't say than what they do. Subtext, pauses, and tone carry rich layers of meaning. But then, how do you uncover these unspoken truths? Pay attention to pauses. A hesitation before speaking might signal discomfort or uncertainty. Changes in tone. A shift in pitch or volume can indicate excitement, frustration, or hesitation. Inconsistent nonverbal cues. If someone's words don't match their body language, they say they're fine but avoid eye contact, there's likely more beneath the surface. For example, imagine a colleague says, "I'm okay with the plan," but their arms are crossed, and they avoid eye contact. Their words suggest agreement, but their nonverbal cues tell a different story. Recognizing this allows you to ask, "You seem hesitant. Is there something we should revisit?" By listening to the unsaid, you demonstrate deeper understanding and earn trust, essential ingredients for influence. When you listen deeply, you transform interactions from transactional to transformational. Consider this story. A manager noticed one of their team members, Rachel, was disengaged. Instead of reprimanding her, they invited her to talk. Rachel hesitated but eventually opened up, sharing that she felt undervalued and overwhelmed. The manager listened without interrupting, validated her feelings, and asked how they could support her. This conversation changed everything. Rachel felt seen and appreciated, and her performance improved dramatically. The manager's willingness to listen didn't just solve a problem, it strengthened their relationship and inspired loyalty. The lesson? Listening is a simple act with profound effects. Therefore, when you prioritize understanding over speaking, you create space for growth, trust, and connection. Great leaders are great listeners. Whether you're leading a team, guiding a conversation, or mentoring someone, listening is your most valuable tool. But then, listening as a leader requires balancing empathy with action. Here's how to apply listening in leadership. 1. Gather diverse perspectives. Create an environment where everyone feels comfortable sharing their views. Listening to diverse opinions helps you make more informed decisions. 2. Empower others. When people feel heard, they're more likely to take ownership of their work and ideas. 3. Resolve conflicts. Active listening can de-escalate tensions and uncover the root cause of disagreements. 4. Inspire loyalty. Employees and colleagues are more committed to leaders who value their input and concerns. Listening isn't about relinquishing control, it's about fostering collaboration. The more you listen, the more influential you become. The art of listening isn't confined to professional settings, it enhances every relationship. Whether it's with friends, family, or strangers, listening deeply strengthens bonds and fosters understanding. For example, with a friend, instead of offering advice right away, ask, "What do you need from me right now? Support or solutions?" With a partner, reflect their feelings to show empathy. "It sounds like you're really frustrated about this. Am I understanding you correctly?" With strangers, approach interactions with curiosity. "What's your perspective on this issue?" These small shifts can transform everyday conversations into meaningful connections. Silence can feel uncomfortable, but it's a powerful part of listening. A pause allows the speaker to gather their thoughts and often leads to deeper insights. Therefore, resist the urge to fill every silence with words. For example, during a difficult conversation, silence gives the speaker space to process emotions. It also signals patience and respect. But then, silence must be intentional, used as a tool, not as a retreat. Like any skill, listening improves with practice. Here are ways to hone your ability. 1. Set intentions. Before a conversation, remind yourself to focus fully on the other person. 2. Limit interruptions. Pause before speaking to ensure the other person has finished. 3. Reflect regularly. After conversations, ask yourself, did I listen to understand, or was I just waiting to speak? 4. Seek feedback. Ask trusted friends or colleagues how they feel when talking to you. Their insights can reveal blind spots. Each conversation is an opportunity to refine your listening skills and deepen your influence. Listening isn't glamorous, but it's profoundly impactful. It fosters trust, uncovers truths, and builds bridges where walls once stood. When you master the art of listening, you transform your relationships, your leadership, and your influence. As we move into the next chapter, we'll explore the dynamics of power and how to navigate them gracefully. But for now, remember this: listening is more than a skill, it's an act of respect, empathy, and connection. In a world full of noise, the quiet power of listening is your greatest advantage. Chapter 6. Navigating Power Dynamics. Imagine walking into a room where decisions are being made. The room hums with subtle signals: who speaks first, who interrupts, and who waits for their turn. These aren't random behaviors, they're reflections of power dynamics at play. Whether you notice them or not, power shapes every interaction, from casual conversations to high-stakes negotiations. Therefore, understanding and navigating power dynamics is essential for influence. Power isn't always about authority or titles. It's fluid, shifting based on context, relationships, and perception. But then, how do you identify and use these dynamics to your advantage without overstepping or appearing manipulative? Power often gets a bad reputation. We associate it with dominance, control, or even coercion. However, true power is about influence, not intimidation. It's the ability to guide outcomes, inspire action, and foster cooperation. Power comes in many forms. 1. Positional power, derived from authority or title, a manager or leader. 2. Personal power, based on qualities like charisma, expertise, or emotional intelligence. 3. Relational power, stemming from your network, alliances, or social connections. 4. Situational power, unique to specific circumstances or opportunities. Understanding these forms allows you to recognize power where it exists and where you might wield it. Therefore, navigating power isn't about seizing control, it's about understanding influence and using it wisely. Every interaction has its own power structure, whether overt or subtle. Identifying the dynamics at play requires observation and intuition. Here's what to look for. 1. Who holds authority? In formal settings, authority is often clear: the team leader or decision maker. In informal settings, it may be less obvious but still present. 2. Who sets the tone? The person who frames the conversation or dominates the dialogue often wields significant influence. 3. Who has social capital? Pay attention to those whose opinions are sought or respected by others, even if they aren't in charge. 4. Who defers to whom? Subtle cues like hesitations or agreeing with another's opinion reveal underlying hierarchies. For example, In a team meeting, the manager may hold positional power, but a confident team member with deep expertise may command attention and sway decisions. Recognizing these layers of power helps you position yourself strategically. Navigating power dynamics requires a delicate balance of confidence and humility. Too much confidence can come across as arrogance, while too much humility may be perceived as weakness. Therefore, finding the sweet spot is critical. Confidence is about knowing your value and asserting it appropriately. For instance, speak clearly and concisely. Use body language that projects assurance, standing tall, maintaining eye contact. Express your ideas with conviction, but remain open to feedback. Humility, on the other hand, is about recognizing others' contributions and staying receptive. For example, acknowledge when you don't know something. Show genuine interest in others' perspectives. Deflect praise toward your team when appropriate. By balancing these traits, you earn respect and trust, which enhances your influence. One of the most effective ways to navigate power dynamics is by building rapport with those who hold influence. But then, this must be done authentically. Insincere flattery or self-serving behavior erodes trust. To build genuine rapport: 1. Show respect. Acknowledge their expertise or position without being overly deferential. 2. Find common ground. Shared interests or experiences create natural connections. 3. Be dependable. Follow through on commitments and demonstrate reliability. 4. Add value. Offer insights, resources, or assistance that align with their goals. For instance, if you're collaborating with a senior executive, take the time to understand their priorities and frame your contributions in ways that support their vision. This alignment strengthens your relationship and positions you as an ally. Sometimes you find yourself in situations where the power balance feels stacked against you. While you can't always change the dynamics outright, you can influence them subtly. Here's how. 1. Leverage expertise. If you're knowledgeable about a topic, use that expertise to establish credibility. 2. Ask strategic questions. Well-placed questions can redirect focus or highlight overlooked perspectives. 3. Control your emotions. Staying calm under pressure signals strength and composure, even in challenging dynamics. 4. Build alliances. Forming connections with others can bolster your position within a group. For example, imagine presenting an idea to a skeptical audience. Instead of defensively arguing your case, you ask, "What concerns do you have about this approach?" This shifts the power dynamic by showing confidence and inviting collaboration. Power dynamics often surface during conflicts. Whether it's a disagreement with a colleague or a negotiation with a client, handling conflict gracefully is a key to maintaining influence. Strategies for managing conflict include: stay objective, focus on the issue, not the person. Personal attacks escalate tensions and undermine your credibility. Seek win-win solutions. Frame the resolution as a mutual benefit, aligning your goals with theirs. Listen actively. Understanding the other party's perspective builds trust and opens the door to compromise. For example, in a workplace conflict, you might say, "I understand your concerns about deadlines. What if we adjust the timeline slightly to ensure quality while still meeting key milestones?" This approach demonstrates flexibility while maintaining authority. With great power comes great responsibility. Navigating power dynamics ethically is essential to maintaining trust and respect. Misusing power, whether through coercion, manipulation, or favoritism, can damage relationships and tarnish your reputation. Ethical influence involves transparency. Be clear about your intentions and motivations. Fairness. Treat everyone with respect, regardless of their position. Empathy. Consider how your actions impact others and strive for positive outcomes. When power is used responsibly, it becomes a force for collaboration and growth, rather than division or control. Consider this scenario. A junior employee has a groundbreaking idea but feels overshadowed by senior colleagues. Instead of staying silent, they approach a trusted team member and share their idea, asking for feedback. That team member, impressed by the concept, advocates for it during a meeting, giving the junior employee credit. By recognizing relational power and enlisting an ally, the junior employee shifts the dynamics in their favor without overstepping. This example highlights the importance of strategy, humility, and collaboration in navigating power. Power dynamics are everywhere, but they don't have to intimidate you. By recognizing and understanding these dynamics, balancing confidence with humility, and building genuine rapport, you can navigate even the most complex interactions with ease. As we move into the next chapter, we'll explore how to translate these insights into practical strategies for real-world influence. But for now, remember, this power isn't about dominance, it's about connection, respect, and the ability to guide outcomes for mutual benefit. Chapter 7. The Influence Playbook. Imagine you're standing at a crossroads. In one direction lies a project you've poured your heart into, but you need others to buy in. In the other direction, there's an opportunity to connect with someone who could change your career trajectory, but you're unsure how to approach them. Both paths demand influence, a skill that turns hesitation into action, resistance into support, and doubt into trust. Influence is not about manipulation or coercion. It's about understanding others, aligning your goals with theirs, and creating win-win scenarios. Therefore, this chapter serves as your playbook, equipping you with practical strategies to apply everything you've learned so far. But then, how do you move from understanding influence to mastering it in the real world? Influence doesn't begin in the moment of interaction, it starts long before, with preparation and clarity of intent. Before engaging with someone, ask yourself, 1. What is my goal? Be clear about what you want to achieve. 2. What does the other person value? Consider their needs, priorities, and concerns. 3. What's the common ground? Identify areas where your goals align. For example, if you're pitching an idea to a colleague, prepare by researching their role, interests, and challenges. Frame your proposal in a way that highlights mutual benefits, such as solving a problem they care about. Therefore, by entering the conversation with empathy and strategy, you set the stage for success. Strategy 1. Start with a hook. Every interaction begins with a critical first impression. Your opening words can either capture attention or lose it. A strong hook creates curiosity and draws the other person in. Effective hooks include: a provocative question. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to get their way effortlessly? A surprising fact. Did you know that the average person makes over 35,000 decisions a day, most of them unconsciously? A personal story. When I first faced this challenge, I thought I'd never figure it out, until I discovered a simple shift. The hook sets the tone for the conversation and signals that what follows will be valuable. But then, your hook must be relevant to the listener's interests, otherwise it falls flat. Strategy 2. Use the power of reciprocity. Humans are wired to reciprocate acts of kindness or generosity. When you offer value up front, people are more inclined to return the favor. This principle, known as reciprocity, is a cornerstone of influence. For instance, if you're seeking advice from a mentor, start by offering something useful, such as sharing an article they might find interesting or complimenting a recent achievement. Reciprocity isn't about expecting something in return, it's about creating goodwill and fostering mutual respect. But then, be genuine. Insincere gestures are easy to spot and can damage trust. When your actions come from a place of authenticity, they naturally strengthen your influence. Strategy 3. Frame your message. How you present your ideas is as important as the ideas themselves. Framing is the art of shaping perception by highlighting specific aspects of your message. Consider these scenarios. Gain framed. If we implement this strategy, we'll increase efficiency by 20%, saving hours each week. Loss framed. If we don't act now, we risk falling behind our competitors and losing market share. Both statements communicate the same idea, but the framing appeals to different motivators, the first to potential gain, the second to fear of loss. Therefore, adapt your framing to match the listener's mindset and priorities. Strategy 4. Tell a story with a purpose. As explored in Chapter 4, stories are a powerful tool for influence. In this playbook, we'll refine your storytelling skills by aligning them with specific goals. For example, if you're persuading a team to embrace a new process, share a relatable story of transformation. When I worked on a similar project, we initially resisted changing our approach. But once we embraced the new process, we not only hit our goals but exceeded them. One teammate even said, "I can't believe we didn't do this sooner." The key is to make the story relevant to the listener's situation, illustrating how the desired action leads to positive outcomes. Strategy 5. Master the art of questions. Questions are the secret weapon of influence. They encourage dialogue, uncover motivations, and guide conversations. But then, not all questions are created equal. Effective questions are open-ended, thoughtful, and tailored to the situation. Here are some examples. Clarifying questions. What's your biggest concern about this proposal? Exploratory questions. How do you see this idea fitting into your current strategy? Reflective questions. If we address these issues, would you feel more comfortable moving forward? By asking questions, you demonstrate curiosity and respect, making the other person feel valued. This collaborative approach fosters trust and alignment. Strategy 6. Handle resistance with empathy. Resistance is inevitable in influence. Whether it's skepticism, fear, or competing priorities, people will push back. The key to overcoming resistance isn't to argue, it's to empathize. Here's a simple framework for handling resistance. 1. Acknowledge their concern. I understand why you might feel that way. 2. Explore the obstacle. Can you tell me more about what's holding you back? 3. Address the issue. Here's how we can resolve that challenge together. For instance, if a client hesitates to invest in your service, you might say, I hear your concern about the cost. Let's break down how this solution can save you money in the long run. By validating their feelings and offering solutions, you turn resistance into opportunity. Strategy 7. Follow up with purpose. Influence doesn't end when the conversation does. Following up is essential to solidifying agreements and maintaining momentum. A strong follow-up includes reinforcing key points, summarize what was discussed and agreed upon, providing next steps, clearly outline actions moving forward, expressing gratitude, thank them for their time, input, or collaboration. For example, after a successful meeting, you might send a message. Thank you for sharing your insights today. I'm excited about moving forward with specific next step. Let me know if there's anything else I can provide to support this process. This reinforces your professionalism and keeps the relationship strong. Let's apply the playbook to a real-world scenario. Imagine you're leading a meeting to propose a new initiative. Here's how you might approach it. 1. Prepare. Research your audience's goals and concerns. Identify common ground. 2. Hook. Start with a provocative question. What if we could increase efficiency by 30% with one small change? 3. Reciprocity. Acknowledge their contributions. Your feedback shaped this idea. 4. Frame. Highlight both gains and potential risks. This change will save us time, and if we delay, we risk losing competitive advantage. 5. Story. Share a success story. Another team tried this approach and saw incredible results. 6. Questions. Invite dialogue. What would make this idea more feasible for you? 7. Follow up. Summarize agreements and express gratitude after the meeting. This structured approach ensures your message resonates, your audience feels valued, and your influence grows. The strategies in this playbook are practical, adaptable, and rooted in timeless principles of human behavior. By applying them consistently, you'll transform how you navigate conversations, relationships, and decisions. As we move into the final chapter, we'll explore how to leave a lasting legacy of positive influence. But for now, remember, this influence isn't about control, it's about connection, collaboration, and creating value. Master these skills, and you'll play the game of influence like a pro. Chapter 8. Transforming your influence legacy. At this point, you've explored the tools, techniques, and strategies that can turn influence into a superpower. But influence isn't just a skill to wield in moments of need, it's a way of life. Imagine the ripples you create when you influence others positively. It's not just about closing deals, winning debates, or navigating tricky conversations. It's about building relationships, leaving lasting impressions, and inspiring others to grow. Your influence is your legacy. Every interaction shapes how others perceive you, remember you, and carry forward your impact. Therefore, this final chapter is not just about applying what you've learned, it's about living it authentically and intentionally. But then, how do you ensure your influence creates a meaningful and lasting legacy? Influence doesn't exist in isolation, it spreads like ripples in water. When you inspire trust, empower others, and act with integrity, your influence multiplies. People carry your impact into their own interactions, creating a chain reaction that extends far beyond what you can see. For example, consider a mentor who encourages their mentee to embrace bold ideas. That mentee, inspired by their mentor's belief in them, goes on to mentor others, fostering a culture of innovation and confidence. The mentor's influence doesn't end with one person, it creates a legacy. This ripple effect works both ways. Negative influence, manipulation, coercion, or dishonesty spreads distrust and harm. Therefore, ethical influence is non-negotiable. It ensures your legacy uplifts rather than diminishes. What do you want your influence to stand for? Defining your mission is the cornerstone of building a lasting legacy. Start by reflecting on these questions. 1. What values guide your actions? Integrity, empathy, creativity. Choose values that resonate with you. 2. How do you want others to feel after interacting with you? Inspired, understood, supported? 3. What kind of impact do you want to create? Personal growth, organizational success, societal change. For example, if your mission is to foster collaboration, your influence will focus on building bridges, resolving conflicts, and creating inclusive environments. Clarity in your mission ensures your actions align with your purpose, making your influence intentional and meaningful. Relationships are the heart of influence. People are more likely to trust, follow, and be inspired by someone they feel connected to. Therefore, investing in relationships is essential for sustaining your influence. Here's how to deepen connections. 1. Consistency. Show up consistently, whether it's with your words, actions, or support. Reliability builds trust. 2. Vulnerability. Share your struggles and lessons learned. Vulnerability humanizes you and creates relatability. 3. Generosity. Offer help, insights, or encouragement without expecting anything in return. Giving builds goodwill. 4. Gratitude. Acknowledge the contributions of others. Gratitude strengthens bonds and fosters mutual respect. For example, a leader who consistently recognizes their team's efforts, shares personal challenges, and offers mentorship creates a loyal and motivated following. These relationships amplify the leader's influence and leave a lasting impression. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand and manage your emotions while recognizing and influencing the emotions of others. It's a cornerstone of enduring influence. EI encompasses 1. Self-awareness, recognizing your own emotional triggers and biases. 2. Self-regulation, managing emotions to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. 3. Empathy, understanding and validating the feelings of others. 4. Social skills, building rapport, resolving conflicts, and inspiring collaboration. For example, during a tense negotiation, a high EI individual remains calm, acknowledges the other party's frustrations, and steers the conversation toward a solution. This composure and empathy strengthen trust and credibility, leaving a positive legacy. The most impactful influencers don't just achieve their goals, they help others achieve theirs. Influence rooted in empowerment creates lasting value. Here's how to empower others. 1. Recognize potential. Identify and nurture the strengths of those around you. 2. Share knowledge. Teach others the skills and strategies you've mastered. 3. Encourage autonomy. Give people the tools and confidence to make their own decisions. 4. Celebrate success. Acknowledge achievements and growth, reinforcing positive behaviors. For example, a teacher who encourages students to explore their passions, provides constructive feedback, and celebrates their progress fosters a generation of confident, capable individuals. Empowering others is the ultimate expression of influence. True influence extends beyond personal or professional goals. It contributes to something larger. Whether it's within your community, industry, or society, using your influence for greater good creates a legacy that outlives you. Here are ways to expand your impact. 1. Mentorship. Guide others in their journeys, sharing lessons and insights. 2. Advocacy. Use your platform to champion causes that align with your values. 3. Collaboration. Partner with others to amplify collective influence. 4. Inspiration. Share your story to motivate others to pursue their own goals. For example, a business leader who mentors young entrepreneurs, advocates for ethical practices, and inspires innovation shapes not only their company but also their industry. Influence used selflessly creates a ripple effect of positive change. Building a legacy of influence isn't a one-time effort, it requires ongoing commitment. Here's how to sustain your influence. 1. Adapt to change. Stay open to new ideas, feedback, and evolving circumstances. 2. Continue learning. Pursue personal growth to expand your skills and perspectives. 3. Reflect regularly. Assess whether your actions align with your mission and values. 4. Stay humble. Recognize that influence is a privilege, not a right. For instance, a lifelong learner who continually refines their approach and listens to feedback remains relevant and impactful. Their willingness to grow inspires others to do the same. Your influence isn't measured by the number of people you sway, it's measured by the lives you touch, the trust you build, and the change you inspire. When rooted in authenticity, empathy, and integrity, your influence becomes a force for good. As you reflect on the journey outlined in this book, remember that influence is not about achieving perfection. It's about striving to create value in every interaction, learning from setbacks, and growing along the way. Now that you've mastered the art of influence, the real work begins. Every day presents opportunities to apply these principles, refine your skills, and deepen your impact. The challenge is to use your influence not just for personal gain but to elevate others and contribute to a better world. You've learned to decode human behavior, navigate power dynamics, craft compelling narratives, and listen with empathy. You've explored the tools and strategies that turn influence into a superpower. But the most important lesson is this: influence is a responsibility. Use it wisely. Your legacy starts now. Take care and be well.